Mark Denholm
at breakfast podcast.
Hello, welcome to episode 177 of the best bits of breakfast. It's unbelievable that I don't even think, if I'm entirely honest, I don't even think there's been 177 best bits, but we delge up every week the least worst bits and we chuck them together in this little podcast, and research this week shows that people who listen to podcasts are in fact more intelligent than those that don't. So therefore, you really should listen to this podcast to boost your IQ, I can't even say it, your IQ level. Who am I trying to kid, by the way? Listening to this will not boost your IQ level. On the way, we've got con men, we've got boredom, we've got weather problems, and more coming up.
Mark Denholm
at breakfast podcast.
Zach Bagans, the paranormal investigator. Oh, come on. Con man.
This is Mark Denholm
at breakfast.
Atom Radio.
And the same email address as well if you'd like to play along today with my game. Today, I'm talking to you about the most boring thing you've ever done voluntarily, as I decided to try and hypermile at the weekend like Richard Brown does in an effort to see if it would improve my fuel economy. And it did, but it certainly did nothing for my boredom levels. Therefore, today, what's the most boring thing you have ever done through choice? On air at atomradio.co.uk. How you get in touch. And morning, Laura. Laura says the most boring thing I've ever done through choice is my first aid course. Didn't have to do it, but I decided I would do it, and I soon learned that I would regret that decision because it is very, very, very boring.
Mark Denholm
at breakfast podcast.
Atom Radio online, on mobile, on smart speaker. Morning, welcome to Wednesday. Wednesday. Nearly said it, didn't I? 6:23, it's Mark Denholm at breakfast. I was discussing the show yesterday with a friend in the evening. We were talking, and she said to me, what do you mean watching Game of Thrones is boring? Now, in all honesty, I've never watched an episode of Game of Thrones more than about 10 minutes, all right? I can't say I've watched more than about 10 minutes ever of a Game of Thrones, and it wasn't my thing, right? But in my defense, what I want to say is I didn't say it was boring. It was Mick that said it. I merely read it, and there's a simple philosophy here. Don't shoot the messenger. I didn't say it was boring, although I managed no more than 10 minutes of an episode before deciding that ain't for me.
Mark Denholm at breakfast.
This is Atom Radio.
18 minutes to 8 o'clock. Morning, Mark Denholm at breakfast on Atom Radio. Online, on mobile, on smart speaker. You know, we had last week news of a lorry that crashed and shed its load of potatoes as it crashed into a house. Well, the road just had to be closed after a lorry dropped its load of McVitie's biscuits everywhere. Oh, crumbs. Sorry.
Mark Denholm
at breakfast podcast.
Be prepared today to see the sun. It's not brilliant, if I'm honest, but it's better than yesterday. I went out yesterday for lunch, right? Finished the show, did a bit of work, and I thought, right, I'm going to go to the cafe for lunch. Yep, all good. So I stepped outside, and it was bright and sunny, and I thought, right, I'll walk. You know, I'll do the healthy thing, and I'll walk. And I did, and I got there, I sat down, and I was probably about halfway through my lunch in the cafe when I realised it was absolutely chucking it down. And then I had a 10-minute walk back as well. Fortunately, by the time I'd finished my lunch, it actually stopped, and I managed to get home in the sunshine still, so it wasn't a disaster. But looking at today, slightly better than that.
Mark Denholm
at breakfast.
This is Atom Radio.
17 minutes to 7 o'clock Thursday. Mark Denholm at breakfast on Atom Radio. Loud, proud, and standing out from the crowd. Do you know when you cuddle someone, right? When you embrace or cuddle them, their brains release oxytocin even, and so does yours, making the two of you feel happy and more connected. Right, I'm sat here with my arms out. Come on.
Mark Denholm
at breakfast podcast.
17 minutes to 7 o'clock. This is Mark Denholm at breakfast, online, on mobile, on smart speaker, on Atom Radio, banging out the anthems. This day, 1946, the League of Nations. Sounds so grand, doesn't it? Held its last meeting in Geneva. Before its dissolution, it was replaced by the United Nations. To be honest, I think the League of Nations sounds far more grand, doesn't it? It sounds like something from a film rather than the United Nations.
This is Mark Denholm
at breakfast.
Atom Radio.
19 minutes to 8 o'clock. Mark Denholm at breakfast on Atom Radio, banging out the anthems. It has happened, hasn't it, that you get a speeding fine through the door, right? It has happened. And sometimes they do put pictorial evidence with it. Well, imagine a man in Germany left speechless when he opened the letter to find that he had received a €50 speeding fine. However, behind the wheel was not him. It was his dog. In the photo, the dog was behind the wheel of the photo. As it turned out, the dog had hopped onto the owner's lap as they drove past the speed camera. So then it's a fair cop after all, isn't it, to be fair?
Mark Denham.
At breakfast. Podcast.
Don't say I didn't warn you. This podcast does not boost your IQ. There's nothing in this podcast that boosts your IQ, but that's what research says. I'm guessing they're talking about perhaps better podcasts than this one. But there you go. Thank you for listening all the same. And going back to that first bit, con men, paranormal investigators, I am a simple man. I believe in things that are proven, and as I've never seen a ghost or anything like that, I just don't believe. I'm sorry, I just don't. And if you do, then, email on air at atomradio.co.uk. If you are listening to this podcast and you do believe in ghosts, email me and convince me. Tell me something that will convince me. Otherwise, I think paranormal investigators are just con men. Sorry, it's the way it is. Thank you for checking out even episode 177. We'll do episode 178 next week on the bank holiday weekend. Yippee! Don't forget, back Monday, 6 until 10. Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday as well, because it is a bank holiday on Friday. Check it out on atomradio.co.uk or on your mobile or on your smart speaker. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell your friends to listen Monday morning, and tell your friends to subscribe to the podcast as well, even if it does not boost your IQ level.
Mark Denham.
At breakfast.
Atom Radio.